So I am actually, I was born and raised in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So Bucks County, if anybody is familiar with Pennsylvania, lived there my entire life until I was 25. And my family is all there and everything like that. And growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. And so I actually went to school for education. And I just went to a state school. It was called Millersville University. It was in the middle of freaking nowhere. Think of like farmland and cows. And then there's a college in that town. Like that's the school that I went to because I was never really good in school. I have test anxiety. I don't know if anybody on here has test anxiety, but I used to know everything going into a test, and then I would look at the page and I would black out and I would fail all of my exams. So I was never really good in school, didn't get into, the best colleges. So I just went to a state school. And at the same time, as much as I wanted to go to school in Florida or California or Arizona, my parents really couldn't afford that. I didn't grow up poor, but I didn't grow up rich. We were very middle class. I have two older brothers. We went on a family vacation every year, but it was to Disney. It wasn't to, China or Punta Cana or somewhere exotic. So my parents couldn't afford to put a third kid in college and send them out of state where it's so expensive. So went to a state school. I was completely miserable. To make a long story short, I decided that I didn't want to finish off the year at that school. So I actually finished freshman year back home at community college. So when I went to my second college, sophomore year, I basically restarted. And my sophomore year was basically my freshman year. So I did 5.5 years in school. And I remember it was my fourth year, but kind of like my third year because I restarted, and I realized that I didn't want to be a teacher anymore. And it was like this pivotal moment in my life where since I was 3 years old, I said, I'm going to be a teacher. I always, when I like played with friends, like that's what you call it when you're young, I was always the teacher and they were the student. That's my personality. I'm very like outgoing. I like to have control over things. And when I realized that I didn't want to do it anymore, it was like this midlife crisis when I was 22 years old. So I actually switched my major after already being in school for 4 years. And I remember going to my advisor, and this is something that has stuck with me through my entire life. And I honestly think it's been the backbone of what keeps me going through difficult times, through challenges, through times where I'm like, why am I not where I want to be? I went to my advisor and she told me that if I switched my major, it was going to add an extra semester on. And I'm like, lady, I'm already 5 years in school because I switched colleges. Now you're telling me that I have to do an extra semester? Like, this is crazy. And she said to me, what is another few months compared to the rest of your life? She's like, if this is what you want to do, and this is what's going to make you happy in your future, what's another few months? You're not going to remember this next semester, and how you had to spend 6 more months in school in 10 years. Like, it's not even going to matter. And I feel like that is such like great advice, first of all, for an advisor to give a student to say like, what's another few months? But just in life, I feel like a lot of times we compare ourselves to others and we can think, well, I'm not where they are. And, I feel like I'm behind in life and I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but time is what you make of it. And if you ever feel behind, just know that in 10 years where you're at right now, it's really not going to matter. So anyway, fast forward, my last semester, I was living home, commuting to school. So I decided to work part-time in an office. And working part-time, I was doing 3 days a week, and I was miserable. And I'm not trying to knock anybody that works a 9 to 5 job behind a desk, in corporate, whatever it is. But I knew at that point that I could not just sit behind a desk for the rest of my life. I was drinking like 6 cups of coffee a day just to stay awake. I was completely miserable. So I went into direct sales. And kind of like this business, when I went into direct sales, nobody supported me. My brothers thought I was crazy. My parents were so pissed off because I just went to school for 5.5 years and now I'm just going into direct sales. They were like, get a job in your field, do something like this, go back to education. And I didn't want to do it. So I went into sales and I did that for 5.5 years until I was completely burnt out. If anybody knows anything about direct sales and working straight commission, if you don't work, you don't make money. So if I wasn't showing up making sales, I was bringing home $0 at the end of the day, and it completely burnt me out. I was working 16-hour days, 7 days a week, all the weekends. I was missing family events. I could never go on a vacation. I missed my family's birthdays, holidays, all of the things. So I decided again that I needed to change, and that's when I moved to Atlanta. And this business got presented to me at a time in my life when I didn't know how much I needed it. And I'm sure none of you on here heard about this company and like knew the opportunity really when you first started, whether it's your first week or you know, you've been doing this for a year or longer. You don't really understand it until you're in it. You don't really understand the money. You don't understand the opportunity. You don't understand the growth in the community until you're really in this environment. And so I didn't really know how much I needed this until I got into it. And when I started this business, I didn't even know how to post on my story. So for me, it was really just a way to make some extra money because I was super behind on bills. I just moved again to a new state, starting a new job. I wasn't working for about 3 weeks. I had a lot of debt, credit cards, everything. And so I was like, if I could make an extra $200 a month, that is my groceries. Like that is a really big deal for somebody that always had a budget for groceries. I was the person that would go to the store, and if this one was $5 and this one was $4.62, I was buying the $4.62 one because I had a budget every single time I went food shopping. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. But my journey starting off in this business, it was kind of slow but kind of fast at the same time. I completed my neighborhood. I hit MMP really quickly, and then I got to MMB in 6 months, which is so crazy because now people are hitting MMB in like their first 4 weeks. But I hit it in 6 months, and I sat there for an entire year. For an entire calendar 12 months, I sat at MMB. And I don't think I really realized it until like 8 months, 9 months. And I'm like, this time is flying by. And I don't know if you guys feel that way. When you're in this business, you blink and it's a new month, right? It's like all of a sudden, like we're at the end of November already. It's about to be December and things just go by really quickly. And I think that one point that I want to make is that you really have to take advantage of the opportunity while you're in the opportunity. And that's something that I didn't do. I always thought that, you know, it'll happen next year, or I'll hit SCD in 3 years, or I'll start making this kind of money maybe sometime in the future. And I didn't really have that sense of urgency. So I kind of let it just slip away. And so for an entire year, I was sitting at managing market builder. And then I finally got my shit together. Sorry for cursing if there's any kids in the background. I finally got my shit together. And the biggest switch from MMB to MM is that I realized that it's up to me. It's not up to my upline, my downline, my team, anybody else. It's up to me. And for a long time, I was relying on other people to make it happen for me. So if you're sitting there and you can't do something without your upline, you don't know how to run a power hour, you don't know how to find something in the back office, you don't know how to check reports or put through an order or whatever it is, then you are waiting on somebody else to make you successful. But in this business, you don't need anybody else. I don't have an upline anymore. The girl that enrolled me on her team, she hasn't done this business in months. I got here without her, right? And so the first thing is to check yourself and to say, am I doing the things that I need to do to make myself successful? Because at the end of the day, this is business. And in business, you have to be a little selfish. Yes, you have to care about your team and help other people and be there as support, but you need to take care of yourself too. And I wasn't doing that for a while. So I hit in August, which was a huge deal for me. I was crying, all of the things. And now it's November and I haven't re-hit. And it's so easy to compare your journey to other people. I see these girls that are coming in and they're getting their Cadillac in 4 months. And I could sit here and say, I'm 2 years in and I don't have my Cadillac. What am I doing wrong? Right? I'm 2 years in and it took her only 6 months to get to director. What am I doing wrong? I sat at MMB for an entire year. I could have said, I don't think this is for me. I'm never going to get there. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that as long as you keep going, you're eventually going to get to where you want to be. It doesn't matter somebody else's journey. It doesn't matter that I did 5.5 years in school. I still graduated and got the same stupid piece of paper diploma that everybody else got, right? I still got my degree, even though it took longer than some other people did. So first thing, like, don't compare yourself to anybody else. This is your journey. You are never behind, ever. There's no such thing as being behind in this business. There's only getting better and learning and growing. And I was talking to somebody on my team the other day, and she was kind of stuck in this comparison trap of, I haven't gotten a market partner. I see people getting VIPs all over the place and they're making all of this money, and like, what am I doing wrong? And the story that I told her, and I'm not sure if any of you have heard this before, but it's about the guy that is digging for gold. And it's days go by, weeks go by. It's now a month and he's still digging for gold because somebody told him that in this spot right here, there is so much gold, you just have to find it. So he was digging and digging and digging and digging. A month goes by, he doesn't hit any gold. He's like, that person lied to me. There's no gold here. I'm going somewhere else. Somebody else comes into that spot and in one day they hit the gold. And it's because the guy that spent a month digging and digging and digging, he gave up, right? And all of that work that he put in, somebody else swooped in and took it right out from him. So whenever you're faced with a challenge, it is a critical point. It's a point where you have two choices to make. You can either accept failure, quit, and move on, right? Or you can fight for it, you can keep going, and eventually you're going to get to where you want to be. I know that I'm going to be a millionaire in this business. I know I'm going to be SED, top 10 income earners, going to Bora Bora in my bikini, doing all of the things. I know that I'm going to have that for myself. So why would I give up when I'm faced with a challenge? Why would I give up if I don't hit my goal this month? That has nothing to do with my future, right? If I know that I want these things, if you know that this business can change your life and your family's life and your kids' life, change the house that you live in, change the zip code that you're in, what school your kids go to, the type of food that you eat, the money in your bank account. Like, if you know that this can do that for you, then who cares if you had a bad month? Who cares if you're behind where somebody else is? Because as long as you just keep going, eventually you're going to get to where you want to be. There's no such thing as a success story without challenges and disappointment and failure. There's no such thing. There's always going to be tough times, but tough times don't last. Tough people do. You can ask any single person that is at the top of this company or another successful company, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world. It's hard, right? You're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna have failures. You're gonna have difficult days and weeks and months, but the sweet spot at the end of it, it's going to be so worth it. So when my advisor told me, what's another few months? Like, I take that with me in every single thing that I do. If she does it faster than you, who cares, right? Eventually you're going to get there. So when things get hard, guys, you just have to keep going. It's the days where you don't want to do it that count the most. When I wake up and I don't want to go to the gym, I'm like really trying to go to the gym 4 days a week, even though I should go more. But when I don't want to go, it's when I have to put my big girl pants on and be like, I'm getting my ass to the gym. And then I don't know if you guys work out or if you've ever done this. That day that you didn't want to go and you go anyway, when you leave, you're like, that felt fucking good, right? It changes your whole mood and you're so glad that you did it. So there's going to be bumps and wrong turns, but eventually you're going to get to where you want to be. And I know that right now, like I said, a lot of people are in their feels, but guys, wherever you're at for the month, like we're only halfway there. 2 days ago, my PV was so shit. I was so embarrassed by it. I wasn't even active in like the first week, and normally I'm active in the first couple days. Like, I'm trying to go for Market Mentor and I can't even get my PV up right now. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And in the past 2 days, I got like 500 in PV, right? And it's because I don't give up. It's because I keep going. It's because I know that eventually something is going to happen as long as I stay focused. So however you're feeling right now, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling behind, if you're feeling like nothing's working, like what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You are doing everything right. You just have to continue to see the fruit of your labor come true. This isn't an overnight success business. And I feel like that hurts people sometimes because maybe the person that enrolled you said it's so easy and you're going to make all this money and it's going to be great and it's really simple. And then you get in and you're like, oh shit, like this is actually kind of hard, right? Like I have to work. I have to put effort into this. I need to train other people. Like what? I didn't sign up to be a mentor and to help other people, but you kind of get forced into that position. And then you fall in love with this business. You fall in love with the leadership and the community and helping people change their lives. Like we get to change people's lives for a living. We get to make them feel more confident about their hair and their skin and now their overall health. We get to make people more money. Like how cool is that, that your job is to give people confidence and have people make money? Like that's really freaking cool if you ask me. But we get so hurt by little things, right? So take some time to like reevaluate your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you here? Why did you say yes? What are your goals? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Your why has to be bigger than your challenges. If they're not, then you're just going to quit when things get hard. Period. That's just what it is. If you don't know why you're here and what you're doing this for, and you don't have something bigger than yourself inspiring you and pushing you every day, whether it's your kids, your family, the money, the freedom, whatever it is, you have to know what that why is, because that has to be bigger than your obstacles. So take some time and write that down. Take some time every single morning and remind yourself of why you're doing this so that when times do get hard, you know the reason why you're here and why you're pushing through it. So that's, I just like went on a rant, but that's kind of really all that I wanted to say. I just kind of wanted to share my story, tell you guys that like, it's not going to be easy, right? But it's going to be worth it. And you are here for a reason. You are going to be successful. You're going to have all of the things that you want out of this business and out of life. You just have to continue to work for it. And one day you're going to look back and be like, oh shit, like I did this. You're going to be so proud of the work that you put in because you didn't give up and you didn't back down when things got hard. So be that person, and then you can share that with other people and teach them how to be that person. So that's really all that I had, guys. I appreciate you all for being on. I love you too, Emily. I appreciate you guys for being on. Let's kick some butt with this sale. Let's have a great end of the month. And maybe I'll talk to you guys soon.